Hey, welcome, 55th episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome. Welcome, you
we
guys.
are.
Sorry we are 5 minutes late. We were lining up a guest down here right below us. Um,
Howdy.
yeah, Travis, you've been on the show before, but you want to give a quick introduction, and then after that, Mark will do a quick summary of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And thanks for having me on the show today. My name is Travis. I go by TTG on the Discord over at Helium, where I serve as developer growth lead. And basically, my role is to try to get people using the Helium network to build applications on top of the Helium LoRaWAN network. And so I have no idea what we're here talking about today.
Mark,
Can you bet?
yeah, Mark is going to tell us what we're here talking about today.
Excellent.
That's
excellent.
all right. He'll fill you in.
Excellent. But if you are not a member of the Helium Discord, please go to chat.helium.com. Go over there and get that probably works too. Get an account over there, and there's a lot of smart people. There's a lot of cool things going on the Helium network. We're the largest LoRaWAN network in the world at this point, I believe. And so, if you want to play with radio, if you want to play with Internet of Things, sensors, it's the place to be. And I know these two yahoos from around the way a little bit. So, thank you guys again for having me on the show. I'm very pleased to be
Thanks for
here.
accepting the last minute invitation.
Yeah.
So actually today we're going to talk about Helium. Last time we had Travis here and Mark Phillips, I guess. I think you had like 10,000 hotspots deployed all around the world. And yesterday, I think it was, you had 50,000.
We hit 50,000 yesterday, man.
50,000. Yeah, you were on the show. Honestly, it was not that long ago. And that goes to show you not only the growth on the network, but also, and we're going to get into this throughout the course of the episode today, but a lot has changed. And that's, one of the things, one of the reasons we wanted to come back around and revisit this already. I mean, like I said, it hasn't been that long since you were on the show, but things are changing. Things are changing, like you said, literally on a weekly basis.
And we're getting about, I think, 1,000 hotspots onboarded per day right now.
Wow. Crazy.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, that is.
So, actually, it's interesting because I was reading about we will get into that. So the idea of this episode is to get into the basics of Helium, what's a Helium hotspot, but then talk about what's new since the last Travis's IoT Happy Hour, that it's light hotspots, validators, what's coming next. But you are getting in the crypto wall or in the blockchain wall in a place where not a lot of blockchain technologies or networks have been, like having like hundreds of thousands of live nodes, collaborating among each other. But we can get into that with the validators. Okay. Let's make a timeout and just finish some things before getting into Helium.
Yeah.
But
cool.
I think that David missed last episode, and I don't know if you know that we are hiring new positions, David and Travis.
I did not know that, actually.
Hiring.
I was out last week, so you may need to fill me in on that then, Mark.
So let me share my screen and show you. And probably last time Helium was hiring as well, so maybe it's interesting as well to share that. But we are.
I'm not sure if we are right now.
I'll go take a look, Mark. If you cover ours, and I'll go look on the Helium website.
Sure. So at Balena we are hiring a technical sales lead or sales engineers in America. Site reliability engineers based in Europe and based in America as well. Security engineers, front-end engineers, and design your own role. That last time that Travis was here, he mentioned that he designed his own role on Helium. And actually last week was Tomas here from Hardware Hackers, and he said that he as well get into Balena applying as design your own role.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe it sounds like that. Yeah, it sounds silly that we are always insisting on design your own wall, but yeah, if you want to apply a balena, maybe that's a good idea.
That's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And are these remote positions? You said in the U.S. Are these what type of positions are these?
So we are a remote-first organization.
Okay.
I do see that says, one of them there says Americas and one of them says EMEA, or actually two of them say Americas. So, geographic region might be specified, but not, traditional sense of you must be in this city and go to this office. So yeah, we are a remote first organization. We have offices in Seattle, London, Athens, Milan, and Galati. But, and so there are clusters of employees, I'd say, in those cities, but nope, remote first. So
I got you. Okay. No, that's good to know.
Yep. And I did take a glance on the Helium site. Yeah, hang on, Mark. I did take a glance on the Helium website, and there is customer service rep, Chinese language technical support. This is the only one that's there. So if that is something that you know, then by all means, the Helium opportunity is out there also. But yeah, I see a couple questions rolling in. What do we have, Mark?
Yeah, we have some Helium-related questions, and maybe we can talk later. And we have this from David. What does a site reliability engineer do? So yeah, get into balenaJobs website. Can you share the link, please, on the chat, David?
I sure can. Give me one moment.
Yeah, sure. And then you can read the responsibilities, the requirements, and everything.
I'm grabbing the link right now and dropping it in.
And if you have any questions, just send us a message and we can help on that. And having said that, what do you think if we do what's on your desk? Feel free to ask questions in the chat. And feel free to let us know what's on your desk as well.
Absolutely, yep. Folks can drop questions in. I see a couple are already there. I see, why should I deploy Helium Hotspots? I see them in there, and we will get to them. So just toss them in, and we'll get them answered as we go. But you are correct, Mark. We better do some what's on your desk before this gets away from us here.
I know that Travis will have a lot of on his desk.
We got into a little bit of a trouble last time that we did this, I think, gentlemen. But,
well, the good news is, you had enough items on your desk to fill up the whole hour. So yeah, then we didn't have time to talk about the topic at hand. So we'll have to limit our what's on your desk this time. But good news, you're not in your lab. So
I'm not in my lab. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm actually at my wife's desk.
AB noticed right away. He said, "Hey, why is he not in the lab?"
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at my wife's desk, but I have made kind of a mess of it in here.
That wouldn't fly in my household. But
yeah, well, I told you my wife enforces a very strict one in, one out policy for any type of electronics gear. So,
I'm
you want to go on this? I'm not singing. I told you.
Okay. You said you were going to sing. What? All right, Mark, give us.
What's on your desk?
All right.
All right. He's going first, or am I going first? I think I better go first.
You go first, man.
I'm only doing one thing today. I got in the mail bag this week an Intel NUC, and this is the latest generation, what they call the 11th gen NUC. You can see on the back, it's got a pair of Thunderbolt ports. It's got 2.5 gig Ethernet, USB 3, and dual HDMI. I have not made too much progress with it yet, as it just arrived, but I do have it booting a generic Balena image. Not all the drivers are included in the OS yet, so we've got a little bit of work to do to get it on a pair of USB ports on front as well, to get it fully supported. But yeah, it's a neat little thing. It's pretty pretty heavy.
Maybe,
it's pretty sturdy.
I think we will talk about Intel NACs when we will talk about the new Helium Hotspots, maybe.
Yeah, so just getting started with it, but it's a pretty well built little thing. It's pretty heavy. It feels pretty sturdy. So we'll have more content on that in the coming weeks. But it just showed up, so underway.
Oh, very cool, man. Very cool.
It's a beast.
I mean, I'm used to working on Raspberry Pis, and to work on that thing it's night and day.
Different, huh?
Yeah, it's a different one. So it's fast. All right.
We have cryptechology that says that the Glamos is on my desk and Whizblock Helium DepKit.
Glamos,
Okay.
yes.
What is that?
What is it? Show us. What's
what is it?
This is the Glamos. This is the Glamos Walker, and actually, this is I reprinted this case so I could put a QI. Or I always say this wrong. I call them QI chargers, but the inductive charger in the back, and so you can just set this down and have it charged. But this is a LoRaWAN field test device.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and it's a very, very neat little device that works in conjunction with a web app. And if you go to GLAMOS. MOS.eu. Yeah, there we go. You can find out more information about these, but very cool little devices. What you can do, you can go out, in the field and test on different spreading factors and, different channels, different, it gives you a lot of flexibility where I can actually, change my settings on the device itself and not have to, go back and reconfigure with the computer. And so there's a lot of flexibility it gives you when you're testing out in the field. If I'm looking for a location to place a LoRaWAN gateway or a Helium hotspot, then I can go through and see what kind of coverage I'm getting at this particular point. And then once I've taken these points, I can go back and look at that once I get back to my computer.
That's important, right, for the hotspots owners to have like a good locations and
absolutely
having good proof of coverage.
Absolutely, and no, that's pretty critical because you want to. You want to make sure that you are providing coverage to the Helium network. With these hotspots, and this is something we like. This is a little device which is a mapper device, and if you go to mappers.helium.com, you can see, and this is what we call kind of like a feet on the ground or boots on the ground validation of coverage. And so you have one of these little mapping units, and you throw it on your dashboard when you're driving around, or carry it when you're jogging or canoeing or whatnot, and this will go up and put these numbers up onto that site. I believe it runs 3 or 4 times a day. And, it's a really neat interface if you kind of play around with it, but it allows you to say, okay, here I could say you have guaranteed Helium coverage, right? I've got this passing through. I'll see that on the map, say, look, even though there's a hotspot there, they may have the antenna off, they may have it in their basement, they may have it, they may unplug it. And so, doing this type of mapping coverage on mappers.helium.com allows you to just pretty much say, okay, yeah, there's coverage there. So,
cool. And then you can discover who is providing coverage to you, what hotspots are, and the RSSI, etc. Or this is with the Glamos.
No, yes. With the Glamos, you can get your RSSI and your signal to noise ratio. And more information, actually. And so if you go to the Glamos Walker app on their website, you can actually see where this ties back to on hotspots and link those in. Okay. So it's a cool little product. And the developer is very involved in getting these firmwares, updated, getting new functionality put in. But, I could just set this to send, for example, what I can do, I can turn Wi-Fi on this, link it to a backhaul on my cell phone, and so get the downlinks via my phone. But I can say like send multi on all spreading vectors, and then you can see how it will just go through here on
nice.
7, 8, 9, 10, yeah. So it's rechargeable, a neat little device.
And so what else it's on your desk, Travis?
This guy. This is a BlackBerry Bold.
BlackBerry,
but it's a touch screen that actually uses a feather format over here, and so this is just 3D printed here, and it's a messenger. And I did not design this, but it is a very cool design. I'm working on a text messenger for the Helium network that you can play around with. And then I've got to plug these. These are from the Helium dev kit using the whiz blocks. And I think I saw someone in the chat mention these. Yeah,
I have to.
I've got all these sleds printed out, and I wanted to bring this up. These sleds, you can still access the modules through the back.
Oh,
right?
nice.
And these keep you from, shorting out your boards when you're working on them on your desk, against, if you have spoons or forks or knives, I don't know what you keep on your desk. But I this past week, turned on a new program. I've got 3D printers over here that you can get on Octoprint, and I'm making these publicly available. And if you have anything that's Helium related, and you need an enclosure, you need like a sled, you need something printed that's related to a Helium dev project, upload to STL, and I will get that printed in PETG. I will throw it in a padded envelope, and I will mail it out to you in the US. Sorry, Mark. But no, it'd just be cheaper for you to do it,
Awesome.
if you're not in the US.
What 3D printer do you have?
It's I'm printing most of this on a Prusa. But I've got an array of 4 or 5 ANET A8s, really cheap printers, but they're quite tuned in. So
nice.
But this just
I hope that you're using Balena Octoprint.
I need to for my dash. I need to get my dashboard set back up on it. I've got one of those 7-inch touchscreens, but haven't really gotten that back up yet. I'm just running pretty much straight Octoprint right now. So
okay,
that's all good.
So that's my desk, or that's my wife's desk.
Yeah, looking good.
Absolutely. So let's get into Helium topic. What do you think, gentlemen?
Yeah, makes sense. I'm thinking let's actually sort of take it from the top. I guess I'd like to provide context really, literally from the start. Like, what is Helium, and, what is it that the Helium project is all about? What are hotspots? I guess I'm thinking like really as if someone was coming into it as a beginner. And then from there, we spend a couple minutes talking about the basics, of course, and then we can cover some of, the more detailed, do a little deeper dive. Sound good to you guys?
Sounds good. So Helium is, you just want me to jump in here?
Yeah, go right ahead. Unless, Mark, there is anything you want to add or
sure.
questions that you want to
get into the Helium questions. I will write down the Helium questions in the chat.
Okay.
So go ahead. Okay. So Helium, at the core, is a distributed wireless network. And it's based around a blockchain, and it's a custom blockchain that Helium developed. And what it allows us to do, and you may have heard about this, that we're kind of rolling out a 5G option onto Helium. The Helium blockchain allows us to, regardless of protocol, have build out an incentivized distributed wireless network. And initially, we started off with LoRaWAN, and which is used for Internet of Things. I'm sure most of you know this, but it's a very low bandwidth, like 50 kilobits per second. networking protocol, but it's very long range and very low power. And so you can run a device on the Helium network for about $1 a year for a device that's going to be, reporting, for example. Well, here's one. This is a Seed Studios device that is kind of hardened for the field, and this will give you light intensity, and it will just keep feeding this, once per whatever interval you set it at, into your system. And so at that point, we have integrations that go with AWS IoT Core. We have Adafruit. We have a lot of different integrations that you can very easily get the data from these sensors and put them into a dashboard. And as well as just generic, MQTT and HTTP integrations that, with those, you can pretty much generically connect with anything. And so what this allows you to do is very simply, very easily, securely, because this is all encrypted, get data from, any sensor at your house. I mean, you can have, for example, a door sensor that lets you know when a door has been left ajar or when it's opened, when it's closed. You can have anything that you can possibly imagine building out with one of these kits, because you've got your IO board that allows you to, this has Grove connectors on it. This has a number of different expansion ports that allow you to interface with hundreds and hundreds of off-the-shelf sensors. So
it's as well very low power, right?
Very low power, yeah, and it's something that this is also on my desk. This is called an ODI. This is a very power consumption measurement device for very low numbers that allows you to look at a device and monitor its sleep states and see exactly and project exactly how much, if I put this particular battery on it, how long that's going to live. So.
Wow, something we've been thinking about that lately a little bit, Mark and I. So
those are pretty nice.
Interesting.
They're pretty nice devices. They also serve as a power supply. So, but yes, Helium. Going on a little bit more here. We have something called HNT, which is a cryptocurrency, which you earn by providing a valid network coverage. And so you use an RF validation routine that says, okay, look, this guy doesn't just have 200 of these stashed down in his basement. He's actually providing valid, IoT coverage, LoRaWAN coverage, and you earn this cryptocurrency, which, then you can do with it what you want, But it is a very neat and incentivized network growth project. And so this has allowed us to get to 50,000 hotspots in less than 2 years, which is freaking crazy, honestly. Because
a year ago you had 1,000. I remember.
I know. And because I'd been working with TTN, here down in Houston for quite a while, and to the point where I was trying to give gateways away. I was trying to, just have people put an antenna up. I'm like, look, I'll go to your house or your office or whatever.
I'll install it myself.
I'll give you the gateway. I just want coverage downtown. And I wasn't getting really. No one was getting it. And then within 2 years, we have over 50,000 hotspots. It's crazy. If you go and look at our coverage map and just go to your town, look at where you live, and you may have coverage. You may not even need to put it is available at France, actually. And I'm glad you asked about that, because this afternoon, actually, Paul from disc91.com is going to be giving a talk over on Rackstars. And you definitely want to check that out if you're in France.
Absolutely.
But okay. So if you click here, this is an interactive map that allows us to, kind of zoom in. Look at that number. That's gorgeous. To see real, I mean, this is coverage. This is all of these hotspots. The red ones are off, I guess, or not on at the moment. But
let's go to David's house.
My house that is Phoenix, but
let's not dox them too hard here.
It's all right. They all know. Okay. Just the 55th episode. They know where. They know where I am. 54 previous episodes. There's no hiding.
I know how it goes.
I do not have one deployed. I need to add, and it's really, I mean, there's a lot of them there, but it's a pretty big,
and because these are so long range, a lot of those, every one of those dots, may be giving a very, very large radius.
Yeah. Especially around here, it's flat.
Yeah, exactly. You're man. Yeah.
Is this real in Antarctica or?
Antarctica.
I believe so, and it's interesting because with ERNAS they have the Penguin project, and so I know that there is LoRaWAN in some of the very, very out of the way places, but I don't know whose hotspot that is.
Okay. Mark, we better have a chat with Al. That's probably him.
We had Alastair from Harimada.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think he was talking about the peninsula in Antarctica a lot.
Yeah,
so
he was up in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Okay, so we were speaking about helium, and maybe it's interesting to as well understand what is a helium hotspot and what it's not a helium hotspot, for example.
Okay, yeah, and that's come up quite a bit because for a while, as I'm sure you guys remember, we had what we refer to as the Alpha program or the Cloud Miner program, which allowed you to use DIY hardware like Raspberry Pis and build your own gateways and then onboard them with an alpha code. This program is closed. Please don't hit me up with this.
Ask me more about that.
Yeah, it's we got a little out of control, but right now we have a list of third-party manufacturers that are approved, gateway manufacturers, and they have secure elements within each device. The network was getting gamed, which anything that has an financial incentive to it,
people are going to get for everyone.
And so what it came down to is we had to have some mechanism there that protected the network. So, and there are some white papers out there that have been written about, how the Helium network was getting gamed. It's something that we learned a whole lot through the Alpha program, and that's why at this point DIYs are currently closed down. It's something that we do, however, want to open back up. And if you look at our HIP or our improvement proposals, which are completely community driven, we have a DIY proposal there, and we'd like to see this, come back into play. But we have to be smart about it, because whenever someone games the Helium network, this is there's a limited amount of this H&T that goes out every month, and if someone is gaming this and they're taking a lot of this, it's taking it away from everyone who is providing valid network coverage. That's a good actor on the network, and no one wants to see that happen. And so.
It's super interesting how you manage these Helium improvements with the community. Actually, this is the GitHub repository. I can share.
That transparency, that open source attitude is really, really neat.
Yeah, and we have periodic community calls where everyone is welcome. It is great to see everyone's faces. Everyone just jumps in, and I guess it's a pretty long call, that we have, and all of these are recorded. And so if you missed any of these community calls, you can definitely go over to DY and view anything you missed. They also have full logs of notes for these calls. So yeah, I mean, this is how initially actually the third-party manufacturers came into play. That was HIP-19.
That's interesting.
That brought in third parties. Yeah. And so it's the community that really establishes the rules and the guidelines. Any new variables that go into the blockchain, all of this goes through the community. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely open. So
yeah, neat.
Let me get into the chat if that's okay for you.
Yeah.
So we had a question at the beginning. Ask, why should I deploy Helium Hotspots versus regular LoRaWAN gateways?
Coverage. I mean, because that effectively allows you to make use of everything we saw on that map. That is effectively just like your gateways at that point. And so,
I think this is a really good question, and you are completely right. It's about connectivity. If you want to have global connectivity, you can trust on organizations like telcos to give you this roaming. Or I think the Things Network as well did it really well, right? To create this crowdsourced. Well, I think for me, it's like the Things Network is like an inspiration, right, of Helium. Like they created this LoRaWAN crowdsourced network, and it's great. But as there are more coverage, it makes a lot of sense to.
Yeah, TTN unfortunately just never really got a foothold in the States like it did overseas, you know?
True. Yep.
And I tried. I mean, I've TTN websites, and you go to Houston, and I'm there like I forget what role I have, but you'll see my face there. And I was definitely pushing TTN as hard as I could, but it got to the point where I saw what Helium was about to do, and you can't fight the numbers. So
let me get into the.
But why should you deploy? I mean, not just that. I mean, you do have. That's the reason I like to give, because of coverage. Because and I this is very critical, and I'd like to bring this in because of the incentive and kind of crypto aspect of Helium. A lot of people who have been building out the Helium network aren't really IoT people. You know, they may be coming in from a financial or from a crypto side of things, and may not really be so interested necessarily in the IoT side of things. And so, and it happens in the other direction as well, right? And so that has allowed us to build out this network. But it's crucial for people who are involved in the IoT industry to say, look, this Helium network is built out in the US. I mean, we have incredible coverage that, I mean, I literally did not exist 2 years ago. In almost every major metropolitan area, you've got, close to full coverage, and some oversaturated, like in New York or San Francisco, and, several other cities, especially in the downtown districts. And so I want to see people using this. I want to see IoT projects on this network. I want to see people using it because it's so cheap. If you look at the cost, and here I can pull this up, but the cost of using a device on the Helium network is what, 0.00001 cents for a data credit, and it's ridiculously low. And so you're talking under $1 for a year of data for your typical sensor.
Well, just to complement this answer for this developer from the community, I would say choose a project that you want to contribute, and if it's LoRaWAN related, just try to be part of the community. And if this implies to deploy a hotspot or a gateway or make code for a repo. For me, the most important probably is to be part of the community and contribute into the community, right? So if we get into the basics or the first principles, then it depends on the community. You have to do some actions or others, right?
Yeah, and we built up a pretty huge, Discord community.
Absolutely.
Very, very active, people over there, and which has been great. Of course, you always hit kind of scaling problems when a community starts growing so quickly. So, there's some bad actors, but we've got an incredible moderator crew, and thank you all to all the mods, that help us out here. They let this whole thing work. Otherwise, I think it'd go off the rails immediately.
And it's amazing. I start to see friends as moderators of the Discord. And on the other hand, I attended the last community call, and it was really interesting to see all the community members helping on improving the concept of Helium. That's super amazing when you reach that point.
Yeah, and the last community call, we were talking actually about voting for a lot of that call. And talking about how votes, are going to work, on the blockchain. So, it's we try to keep this as fair and as transparent as we can here. And there's a gentleman who I have a whole lot of respect for, Andreas, who kind of he put out a video recently about Helium, and it wasn't the most flattering video. And
the guy with Swiss accent,
What's that?
The guy with Swiss accent?
Yeah. And I've followed him for years. I've got a lot of respect for him, and I really feel that he may have kind of misjudged Helium. There were some inaccuracies in the video. There was like the 404, saying that we don't have documentation or we're not open source. We're as open. Our router is open source. Our console, the entire console, open source.
The mobile application, it's open source.
People complain that there are too many repositories over. So, I feel bad because I really have a lot of respect for the guy, and I feel that maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't think he got it right. So, but anyway, 2 cents.
Yeah, that's just an opinion.
Yeah.
We have more questions. iShotJR is asking, does it cost HNT to use the network as a client?
It doesn't use. It doesn't cost HNT, but HNT can be burned into what we call data credits, and it does cost data credits in order to use the network as a client. But it's a zero-sum game, and so if I'm running like a hotspot or a gateway, and my devices are going through that, then I can't game it there. It's a zero sum, and so if it's going through my hotspots, I get paid from what I'm putting in, and it zeroes out. So, and it's very cheap. We have a cost calculator or a data. If you look up a data credit calculator, Helium, you'll find it, and it's just ridiculously cheap.
I'll check it out.
More questions. How can we support the do-it-yourself option being reopened? Probably this is a question that you get every day.
Well, he might be talking though from the community perspective, where, like you said, what can folks do? Obviously, get rid of the bad actors, but
no. Well, the thing is, because this is a decentralized network, you have to expect bad actors. And it has to be able. The network has to be able to deal with bad actors without any form of someone saying, "Okay, anyone being a referee," right? I think that's critical for there to be, because there's always going to be bad actors.
Yeah.
And so, as far as the DIY option, I think that if you go and look at the some of the HIP proposals and just support those. Read them, look at them, but all of these are community driven. And so that's really what it comes down to, is the community saying, look, we're behind this. We want to see this happen. So, we'll be vocal and we'll get behind it. So.
Mm-hmm. Questions about hardware availability. We have this question, I think, from South America. What's the best way to start buying miners? I'm located in South America. And actually, iShotJR is asking, how does one actually join Helium? It seems like devices are sold out. So maybe it's time to talk about the chip shortage that is affecting.
Inventory shortages all around the world on pretty much everything. That's a good question.
It's hurting everyone. I mean, industry-wide. I mean, across industries. I don't know what you do about that. It's. I mean, like I said a couple days ago, it's not a conspiracy. It's just it's something that everyone is facing, everyone is dealing with. But
the problem is everyone is facing this problem, and you got like a lot of hype. So probably it was expected or not, I don't know. But I mean, adding one thing with the other, it's a mess. I can imagine that a lot of hotspot manufacturers are struggling a lot with this chip shortage.
What you can do, I mean, if I can mention, the light gateways, and because, like I say, I come into this from an IoT perspective, not crypto, and so if like back in my day, our gateway, we had to pay for them. But I mean, you can get something like these Draginos, and these are pretty cool. What this allows you to do is it's open source, and it runs a web interface that allows you to see your logs. You can see running logs. I can SSH into this thing, and I can see exactly what's going on. With the guts on it. It's not going to mine. It's not going to earn you H&T. It's not going to make you rich, but it will route your packets for you. So, if that's what you're looking for, if you want just to build out and be a part of the Helium network, then I mean you can get in with one of these. It's still the same type concentrator, right? And the same range, the same pretty much everything else. And it's under $120 US, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I built, and we will get into that. I built a light hotspot with a Pi 0.
Nice.
So this is a Pi 0 with a rack 2287, and
very cool.
We can have light hoops.
No, not anymore. It was a light hotspot. It's not
and
anymore.
And that's running what, Gateway RS on that, or?
It's running the Gateway RS and the miner, I guess. But the miner, this is a question actually that I have. So the light hotspots need a secure element as well?
No. Okay, well, this was kind of a naming issue. There's the term light hotspot, light gateway, and light. There's about three different things that the same term was kind of used for, or very close to the same term was used.
Okay.
And so we have a roadmap that you can find on our site that shows exactly how the light hotspots are being rolled out. And so some of these will be able to get data credit transfer. They will earn from data credit transfer, right? Yeah, but not proof of coverage. And exactly. And so really the best thing right now is to go look at that roadmap, because apologies because there were some like nomenclature going on there.
So I'm still confused about that naming, but maybe it's time now to talk about why now there will be light hotspots or light gateways, and maybe talk about the validators. What are the validators? I have the heap here actually.
Cool. It's exciting. Validators, effectively, these are going to be taking over consensus groups for the network, and this allows.
Maybe tell us. Sorry, I interrupt you, but maybe tell us what's consensus group for the people who don't know it.
Okay, right now, kind of in the larger picture, right now, when you have a Helium hotspot, regardless of what manufacturer that you decided to go with here, you're running the blockchain on the hotspot itself. And because of the incredible, crazy growth that we've seen, the blockchain has gotten to a point where we're kind of busting at the seams, and it makes sense at this point because right now the consensus group is a group of randomly selected at this point hotspots that go in and validate transactions. To put it very simply, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is because it's random, which is great in some aspects, but not so much as some people, have it, down in the basement, or you get one pulled into a consensus group, and it just doesn't do a good job, And so, it's going to get kicked out. We're not going to keep it in the consensus group, for multiple iterations, but even just just going in there and not being able to perform slows things down. And so what we're doing with validators, this allows us to pretty much have like a 5 nines, always up, high speed, cloud-based validator or connection that can make sure that this happens fast, that we've got solid players on the chain who can make these, and it's going to speed the entire chain up considerably. So, and now consensus groups, they take up what, 6%?
6%.
Yeah, and so that's going to be moved off of our other hotspots onto consensus groups, and I mean, if you don't have the 10,000 HNT that is required to stake a single validator, then there are a number of companies right now that are setting up validator pools where you can, kind of be grouped in with other people and on a validator. And so there's also a 5-month cooldown time. Once you unstake, 5 months to have staking returned. But it's neat. If you want to know more about this, if you go to Validators over on our Discord on Helium and look at the pinned topics, there are some spreadsheets that go through some numbers there that you might want to take a look at.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. So,
did that answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, well, I have to mention something. I'm one of the fortunate people who have a do-it-yourself running on Balena, and actually my SD card died. I had a good one, and yeah, so no problem because I have the Swarm key stored properly and so on.
Good.
But it's interesting to see how much traffic it needs to deal, that SD card, that it died in 6-9 months. So yeah, it's probably good to move this part that it's very intensive for the hotspot into a place that it's more secure.
Why aren't you running on a fin over there, man?
Yeah, the thing of the fin, that's a very good question. So this is the fin, and it has an eMMC.
Yeah.
It's running the complete module 3, and it's still not compatible on 64-bit. So for people who know it, the miner needs to run on 64-bit OS.
I was going to ask you that because I knew that. It's been worked on, but I didn't know where we stood right there on it.
So maybe that was a no-brainer.
So can't. All right, this is not necessarily top secret, but I have explored some hacks to get the fin to run the 64-bit OS. And I've gotten it up and running. But
is that an Alpine or
no manual. There's some manual intervention. Like I said, I mean, it's not like it's not an automated. It's not a necessarily user-friendly process.
Okay.
But with some manual intervention, you can in fact load the 64-bit kernel and user space onto the CM3. Onto the fin because the storage is on eMMC on it. I'll chat with you on Discord for something like that. Although I'd have to think through because with the DIY not supported, it's a topic for a different day.
Okay, I got a topic for today then.
Yeah.
LoRa Cloud, like a GPS-less geolocation using fine timing, and like on the 1303 concentrator or the 1303 chips.
Yeah.
Where you can get like geolocation without using a GPS unit, and I mean a rough geolocation, I guess. But I guess what LoRa Cloud.
No, sorry, I'm reading the chat.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with LoRa Cloud.
Go to LoRaCloud.com, and it's on Semtech's site. But
I've never even heard of it, so I'll have to look it up.
I see Carlojo on the chat. Hello, Carlojo. He's a good friend. I see some other questions from David who ask, pardon my ignorance, how does Balena fit into Helium? So I think that's a very good question.
It fits into one of these, man.
Yeah. Mark, I answered it down below. And if you glance, well, no, but it's good we should absolutely reiterate it here. The ability to manage the devices remotely, because, they might be up on your roof and not readily accessible at all times. They might be, or I should say, there might be multiple of them. If you have 5 of them, 10 of them, 100 of them, the ability to interface with them in bulk, the ability to update them, you put the application in the container, and then you can, of course, continually develop, because, think about the fact that it's an IoT application, setting the mining aside, that you're building. So the ability to
update the miner containers. So if you
OTA updates is huge.
If you know about Helium, you know that like a couple of weeks ago there were like 4 updates of the miner in the same week. So you will need to manage as David was explaining.
I'm thinking about also,
and that container needs to be updated constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that to change CSD card, it was dramatic. So it's good to have a tool that enables you to really easily manage the deployment of new releases on your
and like what we were talking about, a week or so ago, for dashboards to monitor like these validators. If you're running a validator in the cloud and you want to have a dashboard on your desk, Balena is awesome for that. To be able
working on that still. I didn't have the time to finish. This is maybe a project that we will show on the next IoT Happy Hour that will invite you to this. We have another question that maybe it's interesting for Elon Musk. Maybe made this very popular.
Is it energy efficient? Well,
we use something called proof of coverage. I mean, it's proof of coverage. It's not just using a graphics card to grind on something. And so it's basically just having radios say, "Hey, can we hear each other?" And so yes, it's very energy efficient. If I understand,
it's similar than having any other LoRaWAN gateway, right?
And and actually, if you want to just look at a particular gateway, I can.
Wait a sec, that I will soon.
Oh yeah, make that larger. What is that thing? Hold on a minute.
So this is a. How does this work? Okay, there we go. So this is a Helium Hotspot that's kind of been taken apart onto a panel, and you can see this, the numbers. Maybe there we go.
Yeah, I can see 5.04, which I bet you is the voltage, and then 0.8. If that's the amps, then you're at 4 watts. I mean, that's a GPU is going to be a order of magnitude more than that. So,
I mean, it's pretty low power consumption. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Any other questions? I'm looking at the clock. So, I mean, we can obviously go a few minutes over. That's not a problem. We're at an hour. Let's probably make it through these last few questions, and then we can start to wrap it up, though.
Yeah, it's maybe one of the last questions. Feel free to continue asking questions. Is there any ISP that could block Helium network? That's interesting.
And actually, we've seen it happen. There was a rural ISP that didn't like, because basically on any ISP, they have an agreement, that you sign that says, I'm not going to run any servers. Effectively, every chat program every modern chat program is pretty much a server nowadays, right? And so I don't think the language has been updated on a lot of these agreements. I don't know what to say there. I mean, we'll see what happens, but so many things that you're running are technically a server on your computer, and those are already in violation of their of the contract that you signed with your ISP. And so we'll just have to, I mean, it depends, if they decide to, really go after their own customers. So that's
we have Jose.
What is he up to? When are Teslas coming with Helium Hotspots? What is Jose talking about?
What's up, man? What's up?
Good to have you here, Jose.
Yeah, good to see you.
I see Cryptology is saying that Nebra has this ability of remote start, reboot devices, etc. But Bobcat, on the other hand, he says that you have to go in person and hard reset.
I'm not climbing on my roof every time I have to go reboot a device. Forget that. I'm using Balena Cloud, and I'm going to click the button.
And that's what Nebra is using, right? Nebra is using, Balena in order to facilitate the OTA and the remote.
They're going to do. They have a couple of different support models that they are going to. There's going to be paid, unpaid, different, the different price points, different plans that they're going to have available. So on some of those support plans, yes, they'll orchestrate through Balena to automate some of that. There's also unmanaged ones as well, if I understood correctly, or at least last time I checked. Certainly that could have changed, but everything changes by the week with Helium, so that could be different now. But at last check, there was some whether you wanted 6 months of support, 12 months of support, none, or whatever. So let's see. I thought I had seen one other one in here that we may have missed.
Let me show that thing that I wanted to show before wrap up. This is balenaHub. For people who don't know what is balenaHub, this is an IoT edge marketplace where you can publish your applications, your IoT applications, and inspire other people from the community, other people from all around the world to use these applications. We have the concept of fleets. That means that you are deploying one application and people from all around the world join your fleet and be part of your fleet. Like last week, we had an episode joining the Balena Sound fleet, and we have 58 people who joined this fleet from around. We don't have the numbers of Helium yet, but it's a nice concept that we want to start inspiring people from all around the world to create applications and enable them to create fleets of devices. We have a fleet, which is the Helium Light Hotspot made by Nebra. And actually, there are 9 people from around the world that joined this fleet.
Okay.
So actually, I have, but it's not working. I don't know why it's not connecting.
That's because you dropped it. We saw you drop it about 20 minutes ago. That's why it's not working.
It's not connecting. You're right. But what I did, it's actually, I forked this application. I didn't join the fleet, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
And I just pushed this code into my Balena Zero. I created an account on Balena Cloud, which is free, up to 10 devices. And I flashed this Pi 0. I tested with Pi 4 and Pi 0, and it works great.
Very cool.
Actually, you asked me this, and it's using the packet forwarder and the gateway RS. So I can imagine that, I would need for this one a secure element, right, to make it to have a POC mining. So it's not the light hotspot, the light gateway.
Right. Right. I mean, in order for anything that's going to mine right now is going to have secure element.
Yeah. So just to clarify to all the community, even if you join this, you're not to be able to. But this is a good step to get used to.
Please, and that completely defines how everything is going to roll out. Like all the milestones on that. So.
But I think it's a good idea actually to have these, have some LoRa dev kit, and test the packet forwarder, how it works, test the console in Helium. And then, if you are waiting a hotspot or from batch 25, you will get it. But you will get used to that. You will get used to LoRa nodes.
But I mean, honestly, at my house, I'm what we call like a lone wolf, which means that I don't have anyone else around me. And so there's really no reason that I wouldn't run, like a different, type of light gateway, and that gives me better logging options, that gives me more like a visibility into what's going on the gateway, and doesn't mind, it makes more sense as a developer, really, to go that way, especially if you're a lone wolf, like I say. So it doesn't help me out at all, to earn maybe, half of what it costs to power it, for a month. It doesn't help. So.
Mm-hmm. So don't know what else. I don't know if you can invest a couple of minutes to say what's next on Helium. You mentioned the roadmap, but I don't know if you can say what's the most exciting project that it's coming.
The most exciting project. That's a little difficult. There's a lot of cool things going on right now at Helium. One of which is, I believe, launching today. It may have launched already. I want to watch my mouth here in case it hasn't. But yeah, there's the 5G is very, very cool. And it's something.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, it's something that is coming. I want everyone to understand, though, that it's not going to be something that. It's not for everyone. It's not, I mean, and it's not just the cost. We're partnering, or we're working with Freedom Fi. And if you want some more information, please go over to the Freedom Fi site, and they've got some great information over there. But it's not just the cost of you're going to have antennas and 5G antennas, and mass and elevation, and it's not just plugging it in and you run a 5G station at all. And I want everyone to be very clear, on what this means. It's super cool for those that know what they're getting into. Just understand for everyone just to plug in and like you can.
Probably it's a B2B product, right? It's for companies who need 5G coverage in their space, or.
It can be. I mean, everyone can be a company, right?
Yeah, I'm looking on the Freedom Fi website, and I mean, the first thing I see is a guy climbing a cell phone tower. So, there you go.
That's literally what this is. This is cell phone. I mean, this is
It's so he's way up there, and this is some very specialized equipment. So.
Yeah. But the fact that this can be done and can scale out using the same incentive mechanisms that we've proved work, with LoRaWAN, That's what's gorgeous, man. That's what I can't wait to see. And so, yes, there are going to be, and there are huge players right now in the LoRaWAN helium ecosystem. I mean, there are very large companies that, and I expect to see them, start jumping in on this because it's an incredible opportunity, to apply what we've done with LoRaWAN to 5G.
Yeah, I think that was a brilliant movement.
I mean, even if it
other connectivity technologies into the helium playground, I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder at what point, maybe it's years away, but just looking towards the future, what did the first LoRaWAN system and radio and antenna look like? I mean, just like any other technology, was it large enough to fill up, half of a warehouse? And then nowadays it's shrunken down to this big and fits on a Raspberry Pi, so I'm just saying, like, I guess the point being is at the moment, it might require all this specialized equipment and climbing a cell phone tower, but in 5 years' time, is it going to be this big and you put it on a Raspberry Pi and stick it on your roof and that's that? Like, who knows? So it's pretty interesking.
Radio does kind of tend to be radio in a lot of aspects, though.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of things about radio.
About like the first computer, filled up half of a truck. Yeah. So, and then now look at, I guess it's a matter of.
Yeah, but on the other hand, 5G, it's ready to provide like very tiny connectivity into tiny spaces. Like that's as well one thing that it's very different from 5G to the previous cellular connectivity. It's like it's ready to have these private places, with this 5G connectivity. So that's as well really interesting about 5G.
Yeah.
Neat. All right.
I think
well, any others?
We talked too much.
Hey, it's always great being on the show with you guys. Thanks for hitting me up today.
No, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Touch base with you guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Just for folks that didn't show at the beginning, Valena's hiring. Just in case.
Oh, yep. Still got. You already have a screen share on. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you want to talk about the positions that are open, David.
Yeah, I didn't glance at them while we were speaking, but let me just look real quickly. I see technical sales lead, sales engineer. So that's what we call our customer success team. They are the ones responsible for interfacing, of course, with the customers and the, potential customers. The SRE, site reliability engineer. Honestly, I have to go look at the description. I have in mind what it might be, but I don't want to misspeak while we're on a live stream. So I need to go look at that description. Security engineer, front-end engineer have been posted for a little while. We've talked about those in the past. And then the last one, design your own role, is exactly that. Tell us what IoT specialization or skill set you've got, and let's see if it's a match or something that we're looking for.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there is someone asking about frequency supported in Asia. I remember Ryan from Nebra made a website. He was just introducing the country where you were from and getting the frequencies. But I'm sure if you Google about frequency supported in Asia,
yeah, I'm not sure.
That's easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you everyone for tuning in and checking us out. Thanks, guys.
All right.
And I'll talk to you guys on Discord. Adios.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, adios.